Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field. Back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
We're going to talk some hoops. We're also going to talk some football. Oregon football recruiting events, signing day events coming up next week. Wednesday is signing day. The Ducks completing their class. And we're actually already in the planning stages. I was just talking about this morning with a bunch of people for our annual show. Every Wednesday morning on signing day, we do a show across the Oregon football social media here from the Country Financial Studio where we'll break down the class. Dan Lanning will join us, members of the Oregon staff. That's all still planned for this year. We're doing it again, and I'm really looking forward to it. So Matt Broders from the Duck Athletic Fund is going to join us. It's a little different this year where in the past there's been events around the state and they all happen on the same day. Now we recognize that that can be hard for some fans, especially if you can't make the one Wednesday, then it's like, well, shoot, now what do I do? So actually there's going to be a little change up in the schedule for those of you who usually attend the various signing day events across the state of Oregon. The Eugene event will actually be held at Matthew Knight Arena, and it's going to be a week later than the Portland event that will be held on signing day. Hopefully, it gives fans an opportunity maybe to do a little bit of both. There's more info available for you on GoDucks.com. We'll talk with Matt Broders, though, about all that, but you have that to look forward to, getting ready for next week's signing day festivities. We also do have Tip-Off Tuesday coming up tomorrow. I want to remind you about that because Terry Johns is scheduled to chat with India Rogers. I'm really looking forward to his conversation with India because man, what a season she's had. What an addition to Oregon basketball the last couple years in India Rogers. And a great story to tell. Terry Johns talking with her coming up on Tip-Off Tuesday. What else do we have for you? NFL playoffs. It's always nice when a Duck makes a big play. We'll talk about that coming up. And I have to tell everybody that there are actually more Eagles fans in our wing of the building than there are 49ers fans. I believe I'm out. Wait, are you a Niners fan? Oh, then maybe we're tied up. Oh, we've done it. This is great. Yeah, Kat, one of our assistant coaches for Oregon lacrosse, is an Eagles fan. I walk by her office, and she's got Go Birds up on her board, and I'm like, okay, this could mean a few different things. And I asked, she's like, well, go Eagles. I was like, oh. Yeah, this is going to be a rough week. It's going to be a rough week. And then Ethan, who's sitting here running audio today, huge Philadelphia fan, went to the World Series, right? Yeah, you've had a good year in Philly, haven't you? Yeah, maybe it'll end. Maybe it'll end this weekend. So, in any case, NFL playoffs are always fun. And then men's and women's basketball. Men's and women's tennis also. We'll talk about that over the course of the show today. And some congrats are in order to the latest Oregon power couple. More on that coming up. Men's basketball, women's basketball. I've talked before about how these two programs have some unfortunate parallels this year. Most recently, it was injuries impacting teams. And unfortunately, that has been the case over the season. Now the parallels were about slow starts, rough around halftime, and then maybe a furious comeback that was too little too late. That phrase could probably describe both games this weekend. The Oregon women Friday night up in Corvallis almost made that comeback. They almost had it. And then the Oregon men, they close on a big run, but it was just too little too late, and Stanford able to win. And I got to say, Maples Pavilion is a tough place to play for Oregon in general. Now, it's been tough on the women's side for like 2 decades since Star Vanderveers had that going, right, at Stanford. But the Oregon men, historically, that's been a tough place to play. The 2 toughest places for Oregon men's basketball to play: Colorado, first ever win in Boulder in program history last year, but the Ducks didn't go their way this season. Then Stanford, Maples Pavilion. Ducks have really struggled at Maples Pavilion, and, you know, last year they only made the 1 trip. So it was kind of bizarre. So get this. 3 years ago, Oregon does sweep in the Bay Area. And I was like, yes! It's been done! Similar reaction last year when Oregon won at Colorado. I was like, yes! It's been done. You know, sometimes you just break those streaks and then you forget about them. Well, Stanford didn't forget about it because then Jaden Dallaire hit that 3 at the buzzer to win at Maples Pavilion last year. And then this year, just didn't go Oregon's way. Now, you look at the final score, and you're going to go, oh, well, that, you know, tough, but not too bad. But again, it was a slow start, and Stanford was just red-hot shooting in the first half. So what I said on the broadcast, I think, is still true now afterwards. That Stanford was red-hot. Stanford was hitting shots. A team that was in the bottom quarter of all the Pac-12 statistics heading into the game, particularly on offense. Not good. Didn't shoot the ball well. They hadn't been scoring at a very high clip. They did rebound relatively well, so Coach Altman thought that was going to be a big key. But the shooting numbers weren't there for Stanford. So I kind of thought, okay, the way Oregon has been a little inconsistent shooting, defense is probably going to win this game. Stanford hit some shots, for sure. But I think it's fair to say, and again, I said this on the broadcast at halftime, and I think it's still true. I thought Oregon gave Stanford some shots. I thought Oregon gave Stanford, with some defensive miscues, too many opportunities. And Dana Altman said when we talked to him post-game, and you're going to hear that coming up, that it just wasn't the same effort that Oregon had against Arizona and then Oregon had against Cal. And what was interesting, Cal, that game, felt to me like a slow start. I was a little bit uneasy at like the under 16, the under 12 timeout in that Cal game on Wednesday. It was kind of similar in the Stanford game. Now, the excuse here could be that the Ducks played Wednesday. They had that extra day in the Bay Area. Then they didn't play until 8 o'clock on Saturday. But that's exactly what that is. That's an excuse. This was a tough performance for the Ducks. One that could really impact their season moving forward because it continues to be a roller coaster. That the Ducks are really good, and then the Ducks aren't so good. And I know that's going to be one of the biggest frustrations for this team as they look back on the season so far and then moving forward. The Ducks, though, I will say, it was sort of odd that Stanford was shooting like 70%, and that's not an exaggeration. They were shooting 70% from the floor for the majority of the first half. They were hitting some big threes. But the Ducks actually kept it close. They were within single digits and really within striking distance at halftime. And then in the second half, I said this on the broadcast too, well, neither team's probably going to shoot as well as they did, particularly Stanford, so Ducks might have an opportunity here. Well, then the Cardinal and the Ducks went a combined like 2 for 24 over like a 6-minute period. And it felt like that was even longer. Like, part of what made it so difficult if you're a Duck fan is that the Cardinal went ice cold, but also the Cardinal were making mistakes. Stanford was turning the ball over. The Ducks were forcing some turnovers. Ducks forced some. I think Stanford probably gave the Ducks some. I think that Coach Haas would say that. So you had a chance to get some momentum. And I think that's what frustrated Coach Altman the most, is that the Ducks did have a chance to capture some of that momentum and then never could. So what's the lesson there? Well, take advantage of the turnovers when Stanford gives them to you. But the Ducks still need to hit some shots. And that's something that they have consistently now been inconsistent about hitting those shots. Both teams kept turning it over a ton. Nobody really got any momentum. Stanford kept the lead, but then finally the Ducks got it going on an 8-0 run, but it was just too little too late and fell 71-64. Got to tip your cap to Jones. He had 6 field goals, 2 threes. Ingram hit 3 threes. But really only 3 players in double figures. Stanford scored 71 points. They ended up shooting 50%, but the Ducks shot 38% in that game. And Oregon ended up with 3 players in double figures after they had 5 in double figures at Cal. Jermaine Couisnard had 18 points, but he did it with a 2 of 9 from 3 performance and 4 of 12 overall. Rivaldo Soares, I thought, was the bright spot. And speaking of Rivaldo, Rob Mosley last week talked to him for the Mighty Oregon podcast that's on your podcast catcher of choice today. And Rivaldo Soares, I got to tell Mosley this. Rob, if you're listening, whatever you said, Rivaldo Soares played great on this road trip for the most part. Back-to-back double-digit scoring performances, hit some shots against Cal. He ended up 5 of 10 and 3 of 5 from 3, Soares did. Then Barthélemy off the bench, 4 of 11 from the floor, 2 of 7 from 3. And N'Faly Dante was right at a double-double again. But Dante, 4 of 9 from the floor. Generally, he's a little more efficient than that. So that's one thing, right? He didn't have his best overall efficiency performance. Dante has been one of the best in the entire conference over the last 2 years in terms of field goal percentage. And then Will Richardson scores 5 points. He has 5 rebounds and 2 assists, and he does it 2 of 9 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3. So when Dante is not quite as efficient, Richardson doesn't have the scoring, and then he also didn't seem to have an impact in the game as he's had in other matchups this season, where when he's not scoring, he's got 10 assists like he did against Cal, or he has 8 rebounds. You know, Will Richardson's done that this year. But it just felt like the Ducks made that run, and it was too little too late. But it's because of the start. And it's because of the second half when they didn't get the momentum. And I think that Dana Altman, when they had chances to get the momentum, and then I think Coach Altman would tell you he's frustrated only winning the rebounding battle by 1. But really, it ended up that a lot of those hustle categories, as Coach Altman talks about, a lot of those hustle categories were kind of a wash. It really was just the shooting, particularly early in the game, and then the Ducks never took advantage of it. Some of the post-game notes for you. The Ducks have not won consecutive games on a conference homestand or road trip this season. If that does not illustrate just how roller coastery this season's been for the Ducks, I don't know what does. The Ducks have not recorded a sweep and have not been swept this season. Roller coaster. Now, I thought that maybe the Ducks playing on a Wednesday after a couple Thursdays hadn't gone well against Arizona State and against Colorado. I thought maybe, hey, playing on a Wednesday. And then they won on a Wednesday. Unfortunately, then Saturday became the cursed day for the Ducks. And it snaps a 4-game streak for the Ducks of scoring at least 70 points. And I thought this was an interesting note that the Pac-12 research crew came up with. Not a hard one to figure out, but it just illustrates where the Ducks are at. Oregon is 0-6 this year when they're held under 70 points. Now, we've talked about this a lot in Coach Altman's tenure, that 70 points tends to be the magic number. If you hold the opposition below 70, the Ducks have won like 90% of their games in the 13 years that Coach Altman's been the head coach. But this year, kind of holds true. They're 0-6 when the Ducks are held under 70 points. 70 is that magic number. 10 of 30 from three-point range, just 33%. And it's just the second loss when recording at least 10 threes for the Ducks. They're 5-2 when they make 10 or more threes. So kind of indicates when the Ducks do hit some shots, makes a difference, like for a lot of teams. They closed the game, though, on a 13-3 run. I mentioned that 8-0 run. It was overall a 13-3 run over the last minute 51. And it's just, if it had been a 18-3 run over the last 2 minutes and 51 seconds, we might be having a slightly different conversation. Now, that 5-point differential that I illustrated wouldn't have been enough to win. The final score was 71-64, but who knows how things go if Oregon takes advantage of a couple more of those turnovers. Because listen to this. Stanford turned it over 14 times, and they turned it over like 5 times and didn't score in like a 5-6 minute period. Didn't have a field goal in a 5-6 minute period. And then one of the defining moments for the Ducks was free throws, unfortunately. Ducks shot 71% at the line, 10 of 14, but missed a front end that would have made things interesting down the stretch, and it felt like it compounded, right? Some of those mistakes at the end of the game, not taking advantage of the turnovers as much because Oregon only ended up with 15 points off those 14 turnovers. You'd usually like to see the points off turnovers be a little higher, right, when you've got 14 turnovers that you force. It felt like the Ducks had just dug themselves so deep of a hole that it compounded and they couldn't get out of that rut. Jermaine Couisnard, 18 points. It's the second most points in an Oregon uniform and the third game in double figures as a Duck. And then Rivaldo Soares, he had 26 combined points on the Bay Area road trip. To hit that again, worked out well. I think he played some good minutes. But where do you go from here? What does that loss mean? The rankings. We'll talk about that when we come back. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're also going to hear from Coach Altman, some of his thoughts after the game Saturday night. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. We got Matt Broders from the Duck Athletic Fund coming up. Trust me, this is going to be fun. Broders has no idea what's in store for him today. It's going to be a good time. So, what does the loss do? Well, to give you an idea, UCLA is number 5 in the net rankings. And even after UCLA picked up their first loss of the Pac-12 season, they're 8-1 after losing to Arizona. They're still 17-3 overall. I think UCLA is in the conversation for a 1 seed still. UCLA is 17-3 overall, 8-1 in conference. Now Utah, one of Oregon's opponents this weekend, 5 o'clock on Saturday, after the Ducks play at 6 o'clock against Colorado here at Matthew Knight Arena on Thursday. Utah's 7-3 in league, 14-7 overall. I think Utah should be getting consideration for postseason. I think Arizona State should also, even after losing to USC. But Utah's 7-3. Arizona and Arizona State and USC are all 6-3, and then the Ducks are 5-4. So, excuse me, it's not like the loss completely tanks you from the Pac-12 standings if you're the Ducks. You're still within 3 games of first place and, well, really within a game and a half of first place. But it has other impacts than that because Colorado's right behind the Ducks in the standings at 4-6. That's your next opponent. Got to stay above them with a win. Then Washington State are also 4-6. And then Oregon State, Stanford, and Cal, all 2-7. There's your Pac-12. A lot of people have been asking me, how many teams from the Pac-12 are, excuse me, are going to get in. I think there's 2 that are locks, probably 3 that are locks. I was talking with Mitchell Lee about this, actually. He's back in the OSN studios. And we were talking about it during the broadcast, like how many are in. You know, I'd like to think the Pac-12's a 4-bid league. But I want to give Mitchell credit here because he's my resident bracketologist, Mitchell is, giving him credit where credit is due. And Mitchell was like, yeah, but it's January. Like, you know, a lot of stuff can still happen. And he's right. A lot of stuff can still happen. So for all the issues that certainly are created by some of the losses the Ducks have had this season, let's remember that it's still the end of January. And, yes, the resume took a hit. But Oregon still has a win over the number 11 team in the net rankings, Arizona. They're going to have another shot at them in Tucson. They're going to have another shot at UCLA. So certainly there are opportunities, though limited, in front of the Ducks still. But the loss did drop Oregon to number 60 in the net. And to give you an idea of where they are relative to some other teams, USC is 61 in the net. Arizona State is 54 in the net. Yeah, it's tough. But it's January 23rd. Where will the Ducks be on February 23rd? I'll keep talking about that because Oregon does have to get some big wins here. They've got big opportunities ahead. Now, even if Oregon was to win out, maybe they still need to win the Pac-12 tournament. I don't know. We'll see. But it certainly does hit the resume. And now at home, got to take care of business against Colorado and Utah. And again, if you beat Colorado, you stay above them in the standings. You beat Utah, you beat them twice on the year, you inch closer. And maybe if it comes down to a head-to-head between Utah and Oregon, you'd get the edge because of the head-to-head. But I do think that the Ducks need to avenge their loss to Colorado at home. I think that the Ducks need to get it done on the road against Arizona and Arizona State. Then let's have a conversation. That's how I feel right now. And yes, I see things through green and yellow lenses a little bit. Coach Altman, though, you can imagine frustrated after the game. And the reason that I talk about the rankings and the standings now is I think you'll hear in his voice he was frustrated because of not just the one game, but the bigger picture. My conversation with Dane Altman on the postgame show. Coach Altman joining us. And, Coach, I know that's a tough one in the locker room. What was the message to the guys after this one?
Well, I bragged on them for 2 games on how hard they played, and you know, that first half, we just exchanged baskets and got ourselves in trouble. And then to start second half, we had really good looks, and Jermaine misses a wide open 3, Dante misses a layup, we miss another wide open 3. Couldn't score a basket until the last few minutes. There, we were 5 for 27. It just had some really good looks, and then, we get the thing to 10 and miss 2 front ends, and a layup. It could have been a 6 or down to a 4-point game there. We had to put some pressure on them at some time, but the 2 front ends, Dante missed the front end. Keyshawn, who's a good free throw shooter, missed the front end, and that didn't give us an opportunity to come back.
It felt like it was just one of those games where it just compounded on you, didn't it? And then it was hard to dig yourself out. I don't know. Is there anything you can build on?
I compliment the guys on how hard they played the last 2 games, and we just didn't have that same kind of effort, that same kind of focus. At times we played really hard, but other times, our focus, our energy just wasn't there. And, it's just disappointing because, we were playing for so much, and we just weren't active enough.
And the lesson then, I guess, is still play hard in every game. Is that the takeaway?
Absolutely. You can't let a team shoot 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 78 from the line, 77 from the line. Those percentages, rebounding was even, points off turnovers even. They got us points in the paint. We didn't win any categories. So second chance points, we get 11 offensive rebounds for 8 points. They get 6 offensive rebounds for 10 points. We didn't make anything count.
Well, here's to bouncing back at home, Coach. Appreciate you coming out and chatting with
thanks.
us. Coach Altman, and you could hear it in the voice because frustrated with the effort, and he said it because there's so much to play for. The Ducks know where they're at, right? Now they got to get it done. The roller coaster, I'm getting sick. got to find a way to make it consistent now, I think, for the Ducks moving forward. Dane Altman, anytime we talk with the head coach, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a Duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. When we come back, we're going to talk a little women's basketball, but first, I do want to say farewell to a legend in the broadcast industry and a legend in the state of Oregon. Over the weekend, it was really sad to hear of the passing of the mayor of Rip City, Bill Schonely, passing away after years of being, felt like, every Oregonian's friend, and certainly every Trailblazer fan's friend. And I got to say, in our industry, in my industry, a legend. Bill Schonely passing away. May he rest in peace. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it is Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. And for the second time in 6 days, the Oregon women's basketball team faced a big deficit, nearly completed a miraculous comeback before ultimately falling short in a 68-65 loss to Oregon State on Friday at Gill Coliseum. You know, Chance Gray and Taya Hansen combined for 10 3-pointers, including 4 in the last 3 minutes. Ducks are now 13-6 and 4-4 in conference action. Potential game-tying layup. God, I was listening to Terry while I was on the road, and I just like, someone catch a break this weekend. Unfortunately, didn't happen. That potential game-tying layup rimmed out with 9 seconds left. Oregon State tacked on a free throw, and they avenged their loss in Eugene. You know, it was so odd. This year was the year that the script flipped, where the road team had actually been more successful in the women's basketball rivalry over the last 3-4 years. Odd. It really was weird to see the road team seemingly always getting the win. And, you know, Coach Graves summed it up great. He said, quote, "You lose by one possession, and it's not just the layup at the end. It's not just the open three that was missed. It's the missed assignment defensively, like the 3 that we gave up at the end of the first half. So we've got to learn from it. That's all. That's all I can say." That was Coach Graves talking to reporters post-game. Rob wrote that in his recap on GoDucks.com, and I just thought that summed it up. Like, that's how I felt at the end of it, like, ugh. But it's never just one play. As much as we all make it about one play, and there are certainly plays that are bigger than others, it's more than that. It's more than that. Elsewhere for this team, Grace Van Slooten got a bucket to drop early in the fourth after Oregon State went up by 12, and the Ducks were able to kind of rally. They did. They made a run at it. But it's got to be more consistent. For both men's and women's basketball, that has been the hopefully learned lesson from, I guess, the last week and a half or so. 65 points matched the season low for the Ducks. They also had that low against Washington in that struggle of a game back on the 13th, 10 days ago, actually. But 34.3% shooting, the lowest field goal percentage this season. It's the fourth straight game that the Ducks have shot under 40% from the field. Now, again, Coach Graves probably going to point to the defense, say, hey, you got to get better defensively. But it certainly helps when shots fall. There's no doubt about it. Ducks were 12 of 30 from three-point. That's 40%. You like to see that. 10th game this season, shooting at least 40% from the three-point line. And the Ducks trailed by as many as 13 points entering the fourth quarter. That 12-2 run cut the lead to 2 points, and that was where things got interesting, intense. We all felt it. One unfortunate thing is the Ducks are now 0-2 in single-possession games this season. I thought that was interesting to just see that note. Chance Gray did have a career high in three-pointers along with those 18 points, and it's the sixth game where Taya Hansen has scored in double figures. And then India Rogers, who's coming up on Tip-Off Tuesday with Terry Johns this week, had 12 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, the 15th game scoring in double figures, second most assists for her this season. Now, what does that loss do for you? We'll talk about that. But some of the thoughts from the coaching staff as Associate Head Coach Jody Berry came out and talked with Terry Johns as part of his postgame show. And you can imagine, frustrated at Gill after that tough loss. Here's Jody Berry with Terry.
What a comeback. This team, I guess Coach said in the pregame chat, we're going to write 10-0 on the board. This team gets down, but they don't quit.
No, a lot of fire in our kids. I think, Chance had another great weekend. She played great both ends of the floor. They were a little bit more tougher and physical than us tonight. Beat us inside, got them on boards when they needed them, hit some big buckets and things down the stretch. But credit to our kids. We keep fighting. We're really young in what we play. We play 3 kids that work really hard and are learning the system and doing a terrific job, and they're growing. So these opportunities in these games, they're going to springboard us hopefully in late February and March.
Yeah, inside, they dominated with points in the paint, no doubt about that.
Yep. 46 points in the paint, a boatload. Credit to them, it's not just with their posts. They did it with their guards. And just attacked the rim. They curled off some high post screens and things like that and just got some different actions at the rim. And that's something we can clean up a little bit too. We didn't quite get to the free throw line as much as we would like to. Credit to our team on the great job on the O boards and controlling them. It's a really big, strong physical team. So for us to be right there on the rebounding margins, pretty good. We gave ourselves some opportunities to win this ball game, which is what you can ask for. We'll just keep fighting, keep working.
How about this atmosphere? This is what it's all about. Same way in Eugene as it is here.
You know what? Oregon basketball is pretty special. The state of Oregon has done a terrific job supporting both Oregon State and us. We're really fortunate. This is what it's about. Our kids, whether it's home or away, it's great to play in front of great basketball fans. So credit to Oregon State and Gill here. They were rocking tonight and helped them get that win. But we'll go back. We'll keep working and keep getting better.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Terry.
Always appreciate Jody Berry coming out, talking with Terry Johns on the postgame show. And, great comebacks. I don't want to talk about almost comebacks anymore. I think that's the lesson for Oregon basketball on both sides this weekend. Meanwhile, congratulations are in order to the latest Duck power couple, Sabrina Ionescu and Hronis Grasu, engaged. That was cool to see. Hronis down on one knee, popping the question. He did it right. Well done, Hronis. Hronis Grasu and Sabrina Ionescu, the latest Oregon power couple, and that's so cool. That's awesome. Congratulations to those two. Meanwhile, in the NFL playoffs, how about Diamador Lenore? For my 49ers, I don't know what Dak Prescott was throwing to, but it was awesome to see him get another postseason interception. Amador Lenore and the 49ers, of course, playing the Eagles this weekend. And I hope for my own sake that the 49ers win. And, well, if they do, I don't think I'll be seeing Ethan Hartley, our intern who's running audio today. I don't think that we'll be seeing him on Duck Insider on Monday. If the Eagles win, you're going to be wearing an Eagles jersey, probably. He's nodding, so he'll make his presence known. That's good. That's good. We know where your loyalty lies. I know that. But we can agree on one thing. Go Ducks?
Sure. Maybe not right now.
Go Ducks. Come on, Ethan! Come on! Meanwhile, men's tennis got a sweep this weekend. They moved to 2-0 to start the season. Love to see that from Nils Schielander and his squad. He said that this is one of the deepest teams, if not the deepest teams, that he's ever had in his tenure coaching the Ducks. That's big time. And then Oregon women's tennis won 4-0 in their opener. They took down Portland State. For Courtney Nagel's squad, that's a great start. Oregon tennis season is upon us at the Student Tennis Center. More details, of course, GoDucks.com. Good start for Oregon men's and women's tennis. Didn't have to talk about any comebacks there. They were wire to wire, I think, better than the opposition. Love to see that. That's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Menus, cafeyum.com. We're going to talk menus with Matt Broders from the Duck Athletic Fund. It's his Duck Insider debut. Is he nervous? He's shaking his head. He has no idea what's coming up next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans. The official 2022 Oregon football trading cards are now available exclusively at your local Oregon Jackson's food stores. The cards feature over 100 of your favorite Duck football student athletes from the 2022 season. Each pack contains 14 cards, and 1 out of every 10 packs will contain a special edition signed card, so be sure to collect them all to complete your set. Visit Jacksons.com for store locations.
Jacksons. Let's go.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
It's a debut day. We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. For the first time wearing the headset, Matt Broders is here. Matt,
glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. This has been 2 years in the making?
At least.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on me.
No, it's two-way street.
Well, you know, but as the one who produces and schedules and hosts the show, I might have something to do with who comes on. My bad.
But the invitation has been extended multiple times.
Has it?
It has.
And you politely declined?
No, it's just I think a lot of times it happens in the summer.
True.
I like to be out of the office.
True. Golfing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Good. Okay. We've solved some problems here today. This is good. So I was joking, sort of, that you have no idea what's coming. But you do. You know the first question that I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
Okay. So I've got a stopwatch.
Love it.
Did you practice?
No.
Not at all?
No.
You sure?
Positive.
I don't
now
believe
I'm questioning if I know what the first question is going to be.
I don't believe you. I feel like you're such a smart, well-prepared guy that I know that you like looked in the mirror and you were like, my 2-minute life story is this.
Oh, yeah.
Did you practice?
No, but I do this a lot when, meeting with donors and season ticket holders. I mean, relationships are key for me,
Sure.
so I like opening up and sharing that stuff with people. So
he's practiced it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting here.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
We got a leaderboard.
Okay.
2-minute life story. Matt Broders, go.
Okay. So grew up in Boise, Idaho.
Nice.
Went to the school that we don't like to talk about that has the blue turf.
That's all right.
And
go Andy Avalos.
Exactly. I'm a big fan of Andy Avalos. I know there's a Niners fan in here.
There's two.
A couple of them. Hey, love it. I was kind of cheering for the Cowboys just because of Kellen Moore. He worked there. But actually got my undergrad in teaching. I was a physical education teacher because I thought I wanted to be an athletic director at a high school. And so I thought, hey, teach PE. So I taught elementary PE for 1 year in Meridian, Idaho. And figured I had a more ambitious life goals than being a public school teacher in the state of Idaho, and had the opportunity to go and pursue my master's degree in athletic administration. My wife had a great job at a hospital. She still continues to be my sugar mama and allows me to pursue my life dream of working in college athletics. Yes. So, Keetra, if you're listening, thank you so much for supporting my habits.
That's great.
And so basically went down to Boise State and walked in the doors and said, hey, I'm looking for opportunities. I hear you have to be I didn't know about what development was, what fundraising in college athletics. I mean, college, I was a 4-year all-conference tailgater. I was not a student athlete, but I loved the games. I loved the pre-funk and everything like that. And they said, gosh, we don't even know. And so then I just kept walking down the hall, walked into actually Brad Lorando's office there. Was at Auburn. Not sure where he's ended up yet since the coaching change. And he's like, we love people that want to volunteer. Took me at that time to the Bronco Athletic Association, which was the DAF for Boise State. And I volunteered for 9 months and tried to get a letter of recommendation. Eventually got into grad school, worked at Boise State for 4.5 years, always on the external side of things. Then I went to Ohio University, was there for 3 years. But with my family being in Idaho, my wife's family being in Montana, we wanted to get closer to home. This job opened up, and without knowing anybody, put my name in the hat, and was very fortunate for Justin Fisher and H.J. Cohen to select my name. And my family and I, we love Eugene. We love the Ducks. We feel so fortunate to be in this community and to be part of this team, and we love it.
Great. How long was that?
Oh, that's not even maybe a minute 30.
2:24.
Oh, dang it. I'll be better.
If it was Price is Right rules, you're out.
I'm out.
That's
exactly.
the end. But we don't play by Price is Right rules. 2:24 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Everybody agree? That was solid. Yeah. I mean, these guys hear these all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of 2-minute life stories. So
and I got this shout out to my wife. That was the best part.
That was good.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
That's sincere.
Great.
Total 100%.
But line of the year, by the way, an all-conference, all-American tailgate. I mean, that was a great. I think that
exactly.
There are people in this community, particularly students, that they would love that title. So you might have just given the pit crew a new sign. Ethan? Maybe.
Yeah.
See? Maybe. I like that.
Maybe we could a company to sponsor it. And
hey, see?
Always working.
Yeah, always.
Always working.
Always. Now, in your line of work, and so those of you that are not as familiar with the inner workings, Duck Athletic Fund raises a lot of the money that supports this Oregon Athletics around the Casanova Center. The name that you're most commonly referred to for Duck Athletic Fund, at least on this show, is H.J. Cohn, the self-proclaimed condiment czar.
Yeah.
And among many other titles that I cannot say on the air. So H.J. is the one that you hear from talking about the Duck Athletic Fund. But Matt's part of his great staff, and now one of the things that comes about every year, and probably I would say one of the biggest days of the year for you all and for fans,
absolutely,
is signing day. So take fans inside that a little bit. Signing day is such a big deal. There's a lot of events. Just give a little bit of the background, if you could, on those events.
Yeah, and it used to be a really big statewide opportunity and engagement, and it really, I think it was about 7 years ago when they put the early signing period in, and it kind of had to shake some things up because
I think it was only 5 years ago.
Was it only 5 years ago?
But it feels like an eternity.
It does feel like an eternity.
Yeah.
And so we had to change some things up because one of the key staples was the Eugene lunch.
Yeah.
They did it at the Graduate or at the Hilton. One of our best events. It'd be a packed house, and we'd get there. And then the coaches would disperse all over the state. They'd go to Medford. They'd go to Bend. They'd go to Salem. They'd go to Portland. And we started rethinking how we can manage our resources better and get to the best impact. And so now we have 2 premier engagement opportunities coming up. And signing day, it's still huge. Even with the early signing day, Dan Lanning and his staff are still adding pieces to it.
Right.
This weekend coming up is also going to be another big weekend, right? So hopefully we get some more Ducks to join the flock. And so really we wanted to create opportunities. We understand that there are a lot of people that make big investments in Oregon football. They're traveling great distances 6-7 times a year to come to Eugene. And we want to try and reciprocate that appreciation and show them, hey, we're investing as much in you as you are in us. And so we're doing this big event. The first night will be on the 1st, which is National Signing Day. I guess if we still call it that after the early one, but
it's a national signing day.
There you go. Yeah. So we do that on in Portland at the Nike headquarters, Tiger Woods Center. It's an awesome event. Nike's such a great partnership with us. I mean, we're very gracious benefactors of a lot of what they do, and so they create this great program for us. And we've got, the entire football team is going up there. They're going to do an education piece and campus tour of Nike. And we got the head coaches up there. We'll get some Duck legends. We'll be back in attendance. There's a great not VIP, but I guess a great happy hour how it goes before in the Tiger Woods Center, which has if you're just even a sports fan, seeing some of the memorabilia and stuff in there is pretty awesome. And then we have a great program that Nike helps us put together. And so we do that. We basically take that exact same model, and we're putting it in Eugene this year. And this is where we have done the same program. Last year we did the same program, but this year we're going bigger and better. We're doing it at Matthew Knight Arena on the 7th, so it's Tuesday night. And it's going to be awesome. We're going to use the Founders Club and Mac Club in the Matthew Knight Arena to do some really cool things. And what we wanted to kind of try to do is get people to feel what it feels like to be a recruit. We all have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, and we get to see all these kids tweeting out these pictures. So we're incorporating the same backdrops, the same photo opportunities that people can come back in. They can do that, and they'll be able to do that for about an hour or so, the happy hour before, and then we're gonna have that same awesome program that's gonna basically, we're trying to peel back the curtains. We want the coaching staff to talk about these new recruits coming in, but also talk about the culture. We'll have some current student athletes talking about what it's like to be a Duck, their experiences, and just really talk about the program, right? And what Dan's got going, because it's cool to be a part of. I think we all kind of see how awesome it is to do that, and we want to give the fans a little bit of taste of that because they see only a certain aspect of it on Saturdays.
GoDucks.com/NSD23. More details on the signees and the events. You still got spots open, right?
100%. Yep. For both events up in Portland and in Eugene, just a great opportunity to celebrate Oregon football and really what's going on and what Dan and his crew got going on.
I dig it. So again, GoDucks.com/NSD23. You can see all the details of the events that Matt's talking about and everything that you need to know for these signing day events that are a big deal. And I love that you're making it the same type of program because it's different areas of the state.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes it a little bit more convenient, I would think, for the fans. Also, one of the coolest things about these sorts of events, the auctions.
Yes.
Give us some of the details on the various auctions going on.
Yeah. So we've got it'll be one online auction. So this allows everybody from. We've got. I think last year at this time we had bidders or people placing bids from 40 states.
That's cool.
That is pretty awesome, and that just goes to how big this brand is and the reach that.
What were the 10 we didn't get?
That's a good question. I
Yeah.
think it was like, you always got like Vermont.
Okay, well, I got to start
New
targeting
Hampshire's.
those.
There we go. Yeah, get those. I'll get you more of a
Okay.
list, and we can start honing in because the auction will open on the 1st. It'll
All right,
close
good.
on the 7th. Basically, it'll coincide with the kind of bookend of the events. And we've got some great opportunities, whether you want a VIP experience at a game where you get to be part of the march to victory, you get to be pregame sidelines, you get to run out of the tunnel with the team. We've got movie night in Autzen, so if you want to come.
Popular one.
That is a really popular one. And last time, a group did the Maverick. They
Yeah, Top
waited
Gun.
until it came out and Maverick was up on the big screen. I actually snuck my kids in. We watched it because I was like, dude, I can't miss this.
Oh, I can do you one better. It was the night of a broadcast, and I walked out and saw it, and I heard it, and I went, huh!
Yeah.
So that was a fun experience for me even. So thanks for that.
Yes. And
Or actually, whoever bought it, thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you. And we actually have some people that have seen that. I've talked to, supporters in Texas and Utah that are like, I want my kid's birthday party to be at the movie night in
That's
Austin.
cool.
So,
That'd be awesome.
And I think probably one of the premier experiences is to hang out with you pregame for a game. You get to hang out in the booth, check that out, and then go down on the field for a quarter and kind of see how you do your magic. And you're the eyes for the people listening, and to see how you script that, I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, as long as you think it's cool, or if somebody watch, no one will bid on that.
No,
just you watch.
Let's not make that happen. It's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
I hope so. Well, I hope. Hey, my pleasure to help. That's
Yes.
what I'm here for. Just to everybody who wants that sort of an experience. Yeah, we're doing it. You get to wander around with me during a game. I'm told that's
it's cool.
important. Also, look who's calling me right now, Justin Fisher. You think he's calling about this?
He's probably like, pull the plug.
Did we say something? Fish, did we say something wrong? I didn't even know. I don't know.
He
What
hasn't
else should
started
fans
calling
know?
me yet,
What
so.
else should fans know? Do we miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's a really cool event, and I think it's going to be something that people are going to want to be a part of.
Great.
Don't be those fans that you'll be sitting on the 8th, in Eugene, and all of a sudden you see all of your friends lighting up their Twitter feed with how cool this was and pictures and being like, man, I wish I was there. I mean, the entry ticket into the door is $25.
Oh,
that
great.
gets you in the door. There's some sponsorship opportunities out there. If some businesses want to get a part of it, and it's one of the coolest experiences we do in engagement, events that we do.
Next Wednesday in Portland, Nike headquarters. Then the following Tuesday in Eugene at Matthew Knight Arena. That's why we left. You see, we left the arena over your shoulder.
Oh, I love. Yeah, exactly.
See, we try.
You guys do a great job.
Yeah, that was completely accident. But
you noticed it.
Yeah, we
See,
figured it out. we figured it out. But yeah, it's going to be cool at Matthew Knight Arena. And I got to tell you, I've done a lot of events now at Matthew Knight Arena, and when it gets dressed up for a big event, it looks awesome. So I can only imagine the way that this is going to turn out. So it's a big week next week because Oregon basketball Wednesday night I won't be able to attend up in Portland because I'll be on a plane with the men's basketball team to Tucson. So if anyone's going, have one for the broadcaster.
There we go.
We appreciate that. Matt Broders, thanks for being here, buddy.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. I guess I got to call Fisher back. Should we do that live on the air?
Ooh, that would be great.
I might get an FCC violation.
Yeah.
We'll have to see about that. Matt Broders, though, Director of Development, telling you all you need to know about signing day. If you're just joining us, you missed the conversation, Oregon Sports Network podcast, or you can go back, watch the interview on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you want to check out Duck Insider, all the details. And then we'll have some of the more in-depth details on the auctions as they go live here coming up in the next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Matt Broders. When we come back, the schedule for the week. There's kind of a lot going on at home on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
I've been driving trucks for a long time, and safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. So the week ahead, there's actually quite a bit going on because we're officially into that time of year where indoor track and field is just all over the place. Like, the multi-events are going on Thursday as part of the Texas Tech Open. But then also on Friday, it's the Razorback Invitational, and then on Saturday, the Razorback Invitational continues. So the Ducks, this time of year in indoor track and field, it's sort of a split squad. And so shout out to Zach Lawson from the Oregon communications staff. He keeps track of multiple events going on across, well, different states for Oregon track and field. That's on the horizon this week. And then it really is a huge weekend for both Oregon men's and women's basketball. At home on Thursday for the men. Saturday, 5 o'clock. Big week. I was just thinking about like what it would mean to beat Colorado, beat Utah. First time that the Ducks would get a sweep of a weekend this year, and they're going to need one. Meanwhile, for Oregon women's basketball, Berkeley, Friday, 7 o'clock, and then a big one with a very good Stanford team at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Basketball season continues. Signing day coming up. Nothing to talk about. See you tomorrow on Duck Insider.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers.